Well, I'm back. We're going to be doing a weekly watch list today of 5 movies that you need to check out. And I'm sorry I'm late, but let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing my weekly watch list that's a couple of weeks late. I took a week off, and then my birthday was last week, and it just was bad timing, so I just called it off, and I'm refreshed for the time being. But yeah, we got some new movies that I'm going to be talking about today. One of them is a TV series, but I wanted to share these with you because I think you should check them out. Some of these you may know, some of these you may not. So you're going to want to grab a pen or something to write with and copy these names down. I'll put all the links and everything down below for you to pick up any physical media on these things or watch them on digitally. I'll let you know where they're at. But without further ado, let's get into 5 films and shows that you need to check out this week.
And now, you hunt demons.
For the devil.
First up, we have The Bondsman, which is a new TV series that's on Amazon Prime as part of their subscription service, which is starring Kevin Bacon, and he's a demon hunter, which is kind of cool. So I saw the trailer on this first, and I really was kind of curious of how it was going to be. You know, Amazon Prime has some pretty edgy shows, to be quite honest with you. You know, we got The Boys on there and like Invincible, and they're all pretty dark and messed up, right? So I was like, okay, so this seems like a good home for some pretty gnarly stuff, and it is gnarly. But first of all, let me explain the story to you, and then I'll kind of get into more of it. Now, this is an 8-episode series. They're about 30 minutes each. It was really easy to just watch in one sitting. It's essentially about a resurrected bounty hunter that Kevin Bacon plays, named Hub Halloran, who gets an unexpected second chance at life, love, and his nearly forgotten musical career. He's a bounty hunter that has gone out, and in the beginning, he somehow dies in an instance and comes back alive, and he's not sure why. Suddenly, he's thrown into a bounty hunting job that is unlike the one he's currently in. This time, he's hunting demons for the devil. Now, you will notice that there's kind of a weird humor to it a little bit. Maybe I'm too edgelord, I don't know. But it just doesn't feel like it's like hitting that level that I really like, you know, where it's like really funny. For me, like I really like a lot of shows like Preacher and, you know, The Boys, which are, you know, pretty heavy, edgy kind of humor. And I was kind of maybe anticipating that it would go that way. And so I was looking for that. Now, the gore, practical effects, and the CGI and all that other stuff that they use in those shows is present here. So we're seeing a lot of the same stuff that is like dark, graphic stuff, which is a good thing. Some of the humor just kind of misses with me. I was more interested in the story, which is fine. You know, I don't need to have everything be funny. It's just this particular show feels like it deserves a little more of that. Kevin Bacon's character, Hub Halloran, is playing essentially a version of his Tremors character, but more dark. So he's much more cynical, much more messed up, and kind of been through the ringer on some things. You can tell that he's obviously not very happy with where life has led him. His obvious divorce that he has with his wife, who has a child between the two of them. His musical career and everything is gone. First of all, I love me some Kevin Bacon. I like seeing him in these kind of roles, you know, because I just like him in this kind of stuff. But we also get, you know, Beth Grant, who's playing his mom, who has some pretty witty jokes. And let's face it, you know, we all love Sparkle Motion and her commitment to it.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
The CGI wasn't terrible in this. The gore is definitely there, and the humor is there for sure. But I'm not sold on it like 100%. Like some of the CGI for the demon stuff feels a little overdone. I feel like they could have kept it a little bit more simple, a little bit more practical, and added elements of CGI to it. It kind of reminds me of the show Outcast, if you ever saw that, with Brent Spiner, who, you know, was from the Next Generation Star Trek. And it kind of has that vibe about it, but this one's a little bit more funnier, the Bondsman. But, you know, some of the characters are cool, but I don't know. It just doesn't really fill me with like so much excitement. I do like the show. I think it's done fairly decent, and I'm pretty sure that they'll probably get a second season. I don't know. I'm somewhere at about a 7 out of 10, and it's just barely there, but it's enough to keep me interested, but I'm not like fully invested or excited about a second season. If it's up, I'll watch it. Up next, we have Shocker. 4K on Scream Factory, which they put this out a little while ago, about a month or two ago. I got it for myself for my birthday, and I decided to pick it up and watch it and on my birthday, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. There's a lot of really funny, ridiculous parts in this film. Yeah, it just came out, and if you've never seen this, this is from 1989, and it is a story about this killer who is going around murdering families and things like that. This kid who plays football has premonitions or dreams, or where he kind of is carried to the spot where this murders are occurring, and it happens to be at his own family's house. He watches his family get slain, tries to stop the killer, but then wakes up and thinks it's a dream. Really, he has some sort of weird connection with this killer, and they find the killer, and things get pretty crazy when he dies. The killer is, you know, killed and turns into sort of a supernatural beast, very akin to something like Freddy Krueger, jumping in between televisions and electronics and wires. He can jump into other bodies to take over their body, and then they sort of put on a performance that's akin to what that guy's like. Gives some pretty interesting and hilarious results. Fucking fantastic. This is a movie that I grew up watching over and over and over and over again. In fact, I think my father had a laser disc of this, so I always watched it all the time. Just never stopped my rotation. I've been watching it forever. It is very cheesy and very schlocky, but it's kind of like a big budget schlocky thing. So it's really enjoyable in that regard for me. And I know some people are like, God, what a terrible movie, but I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. It's stuck with me this long. Why would I turn my back on it now? If you like gore and like weird Freddy Krueger style like antics and things with like a super aggro killer who is back and forth, and then it jumps into a sort of stay tuned kind of world, it's pretty fun. It is directed by Wes Craven, who did Freddy Krueger, so makes a lot of sense why it feels in that same world. You can see a lot of the shots that are very similar to Nightmare on Elm Street. Specifically, the dream sequences feel very much like a Nightmare on Elm Street film. It's the maestro, you know, may he rest in peace. There's links to the 4K copy if you want to get a copy on Amazon down below. Add it to your wish list, whatever. It looks really good. I was like kind of blown away at how sharp and crisp it was. This wasn't necessarily a bad print on Blu-ray, but it is kind of nice to have a step up, a new restoration altogether. Interview with a composer, William Goldstein, and with actor Peter Berg, who is also now a big director. Interview with the designer, Cynthia Charette. So it does have more on it than the previous Scream Factory, just FYI. Up next, we have Dreamtime, or Il Tempo del Sogno, or Sogno. I am really terrible at trying to get these things right. I practice them before I do it, and then somehow it just comes out of my mouth like stupid. So all of my Italian friends who are out there who just followed me because of the Beyond, welcome. I'm sorry. I'm trying, my friends. I respect and love you guys very much. But yes, this is Dreamtime technically. It is a new release by Rustblade Records, which they do a Rustblade video now, and they're putting out a lot of really cool stuff that involves Italian horror. Go figure. But this one is a documentary style from 2023. It just got a Blu-ray that MVD Entertainment is distributing out for it, and you can pick it up on their website. This is essentially by a host that was this magazine journalist. His name is Davide Pollicci. He did a lot of journalism for this magazine called Nocturno, which was kind of like Fangoria in Italy and all over. They put this thing out for 30 years and it suddenly closed up shop, went out of existence. And so Davide, what he does is he kind of hosts this documentary, and it's a fun look at why the Italian scene died for horror in all those years ago and why it went from all the way up here to down here very quickly. And he kind of tries to get to the bottom of it, starting with the Italian horror film by Lamberto Bava, Demons, and then kind of walks it forward through all the different movies that came out that were big sensations by talking with a lot of actors and maestros and directors and everybody, all these legends that are living now on the screen. And it's a lot of fun. There's like some in-humor with the directors and stuff. Davide will stand in the corner and just stare at them like, I've got something serious I need to talk to you about. And it's kind of like they play along. It has this like fun aspect to it, which I really liked. But it does go through sort of a brushing up of all the things that happened, all the different directors that were a part of it, what their experiences were on set, and just the magnificence of that era and time frame of how sort of cinema was popping off all the way into the 90s as it sort of dissipated and disappeared. This is actually directed by Claudio Lattanzi, who did Zombie 5 Killing Birds. He's done other movies, but that one in particular is like the end cap of the zombie franchise, which coincidentally, Demons has like multiple iterations, which they kind of talk about in the beginning of this movie because, you know, Demons 1 and 2 came out and then they got rid of the movies and sold them off. I think Argento did. And then they kind of went on and other people were trying to name these movies Demons 3. There's like 3 different Demons 3, Demons 4, and a 5. And they're all different names. But yeah, some of the people you're going to see in this, you got Lamberto Bava, Luigi Cozzi, Franco Ferrini, Fabio Frizzi, Michele Suave, Claudio Simonetti, and Sergio Stivoletti, who does all the practical effects in the Demons movies and many, many more. He did The Church and all these other movies, but Demons was one of the first start, and they talked to him in his shop and stuff, which is really cool too. So I really enjoyed this release a lot. I did not know what it was. At first, I thought it was just going to be a documentary on the music because everything on the back was like spelled out in like Italian. I didn't really read up on it or whatever, and I just kind of popped it in. This was actually a fun watch. Now, there is some extras on here. One of the extras does not have English subtitles, kind of a bummer, but the other one does. So you watch it for the documentary anyway, which I really quite enjoyed. I would give this at least an 8 out of 10. It's solid. I will watch this again, and seeing these living legends on the screen and having fun talking about the genre that they all kind of love too is really inspiring, and it just makes you think about Italian cinema and Italian horror. And if you're a fan of that thing that happened in the 80s, then you'll love this. And I'll put a link down below for you to pick it up from MVD. It's on sale right now, I believe, too. So
everybody dies.
Up next, we have The Monkey. Yes, I didn't get to catch this one in the theater. It came out earlier this year, like one of the first movies this year, which is always a little curious. Like I was like, is this gonna be a bad movie? The Monkey is directed by Osgood Perkins, who is the actor turned director who did Longlegs. And I was not a huge fan of Longlegs. I liked Longlegs. I didn't love Longlegs. I felt like that movie was so serious, and the tone and the vibe and everything was so good that it needed more to the story. But this movie, The Monkey, is like completely different than that. I was like, okay, this seems like a comedy horror movie that's got really dark sense of humor, and it does. If you don't know or haven't seen it, The Monkey is about 2 twin brothers who grow up. Their names are Bill and Hal, and they find their father's old toy monkey in the attic. They crank it to start it up to make it do its thing. It's got a drum on its lap and everything like that. And when they start it up, so do a lot of gruesome deaths. Turns out this thing's a little cursed, and the twins decide that they're gonna throw it away and move on with their lives and decide to split up. They don't really get along too well as kids anyway. And then the monkey resurfaces some particular reason in the future, and they are brought back together through blood and laughter. Well, not laughter on their end, my end. I was laughing. But yeah, I thought this was hilarious. I thought it was really good, super dark humor. If you are a dark humor fan, this is gonna blow you away just as much as the characters who die on the screen. I mean, they die in some of the most ridiculous, doesn't really make sense ways, so you're gonna have to suspend your disbelief, but it's kind of like a comedy movie that is kind of going the route of something like Final Destinations. It's not that the curse is chasing them like Final Destination, although one could say that it's very similar, and it is, but you know, remember, this is a story that's based off a short story that Stephen King did, so if Final Destination borrowed, it would be from that. But this movie does have that vibe about it where you kind of enjoy the gore and enjoy the dark humor, which is very much a Final Destination thing. Speaking of which, I'll be doing a top list of those in my order of what I like from Final Destination before we watch the new movie this year. This one has a lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of human popping good times. It's a little vapid, you know, some of the characters aren't exactly lovable. You really kind of don't need them to be too lovable because they're gonna pop or die in some crazy fantastic way. Obviously, I like this better than Longlegs. I think this movie is actually pretty damn good. The ending is gonna leave people a little, they might not like it too much. I thought it was ironic and fun. I would give this at least an 8.5. It's definitely on the top of my list for this year. I don't know where it'll end up, but I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely going to be something that I will buy on actual 4K. Looks gorgeous in 4K, but I gotta say, it's for rent, but $20? You might as well just pay the $25 if you're gonna get the digital, and that's what I did. We're gonna actually buy the 4K disc anyway, because, you know, I'm a collector. So I'm gonna put a link for it down below so you can wish list it on your Amazon if you wanna pick it up. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And then finally, for our fifth movie this week, we have Godzilla versus Biollante, the Criterion Collection 4K. That's right, my friends. It's here in all its glory. This is one of the ones that a lot of people really remember because it is so batshit crazy, but more importantly, the practical effects and monster getup is amazing. And it does a lot of changing and morphing. It's very meaty. This is a very meaty Godzilla movies. I like it for that reason, and I've always remembered it. It's not my favorite Godzilla one. I would say I am a Hedorah fan, so Godzilla versus Hedorah, the smog monster, is probably my favorite Godzilla movie of all time. But I haven't seen them all, so I can't say for sure, and maybe one day I'll do a list. But this one is the one that came out at 1989 at the very tail end of the 80s, and it has all the greatness of the practical effects and everything with a little bit more edgier sort of futuristic style with the 90s. It even has a spacecraft in the movie that borrows from the infamous 1984 Godzilla Returns, or just 1985 in America because it took a year before it came out here. This one is, of course, themed up like most Godzilla movies are. Man uses science against himself and causes more problems. That's pretty much Godzilla in a nutshell. I mean, Godzilla exists because of mankind's mess up. And it's just one of those stories where they were like, let's do something new, but we'll make him fight biological monsters. It's about a geneticist or biologist who's working on flowers because his wife was a huge rose fan, and he's trying to get this psychic girl to communicate with the roses, and he believes that they actually have a life and a personality, and some other scientists, and they find just a little bit of his flesh and try to mix it with his technology or his biology, and it creates a monstrous new creature named Biollante, which transforms into this giant plant Godzilla versus Godzilla. And it's a pretty long movie. It's almost 2 hours long. And I gotta say, there is a couple of really slow parts in the middle of the movie, but man, when it gets into the action, it's actually pretty fun. You got directors Kazuki Omori, Koji Hashimoto, Kinjiro Ohmori. There is just a lot to like about this film. It's not going to be for everybody because of that big lag in the middle, but many of Godzilla films has a lot of human elements to it. Sure, we all want to see the Sure, we all love the death and destruction of Godzilla going around crushing every city, which it just blows me away that Godzilla can literally decimate an entire city in Japan, which is not the biggest country in the world. And this thing is ginormous, and they're dealing with this guy. Their economy's got to tank at some point, I would think, you know, like it's crazy. They're like, oh, he just destroyed Osaka and oh, there goes Tokyo. And somehow they still managed to create these billion-dollar machines, which they bring a flying ship. It's like a version 2 that has these mirrors in it that reflects Godzilla's like mouth rays back at him. Yeah, that's in there. So it's kind of a nod back to the 1984-1985 Return of Godzilla. But yeah, I like it. I really like the creature effects in it, especially by the end, even though it's very short-lived. A lot of people were a little miffed that this didn't have full English spoken dubs in it, because a lot of people like to watch their Godzilla with dubs. So this is just with subtitles. I didn't think it was that bad to watch with the subtitles. I understand why some people like them with cheesier, not so serious films. I don't think it affected it much. Now, there isn't a lot of extras on this either. There's a few extra things on it, you know. It is in 5.0 surround in Japanese with English subtitles, 185:1 aspect ratio. Wasn't really a loaded Criterion release, but it does look good. And it does come with like a booklet or a poster actually. And on the back, it has a bunch of like, you know, extra stuff written by Jim Cirinella. I didn't get to read it, but... And it comes with the Blu-ray and the 4K, so you have both. The extras, the most of the extras are on the Blu-ray, by the way. But yeah, I would give this probably a 7.5 out of 10. It's in there, but it does have a really big dry patch right in the middle, so I can understand why some people might not like it. And obviously, if you don't know what Godzilla is, maybe you won't like it. But I did. I enjoy it. Check it out if you do. I'll put a link down below for you to pick up a 4K copy from Criterion. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's everything for this week. I hope I gave you a lot of different choices. I tend to watch a lot of different things. I hope you enjoy this, guys. Thank you so much for watching it. Let me know which one of these you're going to get or watch or liked, and let me know what you think about each of these movies down below. I'd love to hear what you think about them. But other than that, thank you so much for coming by. I hope you enjoy my weekly watch list. We'll be bringing these back weekly. Thanks for coming by, and long live the void.